Hello everyone, my name is Ria Anjos, and in this episode of Bookmarked, we will be reviewing Sujata Gitla's debut novel, Ants Among Elephants, An Untouchable Family and the Making of Modern India, published in the year 2017. It revolves around the story of the author tracing back her roots of untouchability and elaborating upon her family's lived experiences as Dalits. While narrating the story of her great grandparents, who were once part of a nomadic clan, she writes about how they were driven out into the plains by the colonizers to live with the so called civilized population, thus marking the beginning of their lives as untouchables. It chronicles the bloody history of independence, Telangana struggle, and the Naxalite movement, all in the backdrop of her family history. But before I review the book, I would like to tell you briefly how I came across this book. Back in the year 2019, I had just graduated out of college and I was appearing for some entrance exams. One such entrance exam, the reading passage was from Sujata Gitla's Ants Among Elephants. And at that point of time, I had no idea about this book, but the passage was something that piqued my curiosity. In fact, the very first sentence of this passage was, "No one informed me that I was an untouchable. It is not the kind of thing that your mother would need to tell you. What I was told was that we were Christians." I don't remember the rest of the exam, but I remember coming back home and immediately switching on Google and writing whatever little words from this passage that I could remember. And after 2 to 3 vain attempts, I remember coming across the PDF for this book, which was about to change my perception about a lot of things eventually. The book starts with the incidents which prompted the author to trace back her family history, her introduction to the concept of caste system, and the struggles of reaching out to her family members, which seems very much like a race against time. But it does give you an adrenaline rush, seeing the author run pillar to post, trying to find materials for this book. It's almost as if you're there with her in this moment. The story then proceeds to talk about life under colonial rule, how the caste lines were still relatively blurred as compared to a post-colonial India. The most interesting aspect about this book is that it will demystify the romanticism associated with the anti-colonial movement in India. It urges one to look at important figures of history like Gandhi and Nehru from a different perspective altogether. Someone who's unaware of Gandhi's real views on caste or Nehru's obsession with national integration would find this book somewhat of an eye-opener, especially in a particular section of this book when a quarrel erupts among the lower castes and the upper castes in the village, with violence just at the offing, and a young Gandhi's follower interjects and advises the untouchables to never again do anything that provokes the caste Hindus, as this was also Gandhi's way of solving caste disputes. Similarly, the struggles that non-Hindi speaking population faced when Hindi was imposed as a national language and the protests against Nehruvian policies is clearly emphasized in this book. The primary focus of the book is Sujata Gitla's maternal uncle, late K.G. Satyamurthy, who was the principal founder in the early 1970s of a Maoist guerrilla group, PWG, or the People's War Group. Now, one of my favorite aspects about this book was learning about the political growth of her uncle K.G. Satyamurthy. He starts his political journey by supporting the Indian National Congress at a very young age during the colonial period, to forming disillusionment against Gandhi for calling off the Quit India movement, still supporting the Indian National Congress for its heroic icon Subhash Chandra Bose, who led the militant faction in Congress at that point of time. What is quite evident here is Satyamurthy's desire to take up arms and fight the enemy not with words but with force and weapons. It is no surprise later when he shows interest in becoming a communist, working for the party, seeing the flaws and later helping to form the CPI-ML faction, better known as the People's War Group. What actually comes as a shocker is later in the book when it is revealed how deeply ingrained casteism was even in the most radical of the revolutionary left parties in India. Another interesting aspect about this book is that the author does not flinch away from viscerally describing the kind of violence that is inflicted upon the lower castes or the women for that matter. One particular character who comes into mind is Manjula, who is the author's mother. And in spite of being highly educated and one of the most selfless characters in this book, Manjula often has to bear the brunt for her brother's actions. She is the one who gets expelled from her job because her brother is a communist. She is the one who has to deal with a very confusing husband who only knows how to function in extremities. I mean, either he'll be overly affectionate towards her or straight up beat her to a pulp. There is no middle ground whatsoever. Talking about the characters in this book, all of them were such strong personalities, and this book has few but very strong female characters as well, like Manjula or Sujata Gidla, who comes towards the later section in this book. However, there is this one particular character I would like to mention here, that is Carrie, who is Manjula and Satyamurthi's brother. Now, truth be told, it is not a character you'd be looking forward to read about, because he is portrayed in this book as a notorious skirt chaser who believes the entire female race is born loose, which is why he feels this obsessive need to be overly protective about his younger sister. And no, these are not my words. This is how the author describes him in this book. But as the story progresses, his character does become less obnoxious, but just when you're starting to empathize with his character, his misogynistic side comes into focus and you end up having a negative impression of his character all over again. One such instance was when Manjula was having some affectionate moments with her husband, and Carrie advises him that women should never be treated so kindly. You need to treat them sternly, otherwise they climb on your head and sit there. Towards the final chapter, the focus shifts on the experiences of Sujata and her siblings, and in the afterwards she writes, Sujata, that is I, witnessed it. And that point, the book comes full circle and leaves you with the sense of completion. Sujata Gidla would soon be releasing a prequel to her book Ants Among Elephants, where she would be talking about the experiences of her forefathers in the jungle, how their lives as tribals were, and how they were integrated into the Hindu fold as untouchables. This book is a must-read for multiple reasons, one of it being that it is a story of lived experiences of caste oppression. It is the side of Indian history that we as students or sociologists might only come across in research papers or academic writings, and that too mostly written by upper caste scholars. Even though the original target for this book were non-Indian readers, I believe this book forms a very good base for someone who's just started reading or is interested to read more about Dalit literature and evolution of the left parties in India. In conclusion, this book is an absolute must-read, and it will definitely be enlightening, and it will be one of your best reads ever. Thank you.